Hi everybody, this is John Beckett here. I'm the CEO of ChannelSight, and today we're going to be talking about e-commerce innovation and how connected devices and artificial intelligence are introducing changes to how people are buying products. And those changes are going to be very significant and really fundamentally change how people buy products. So some interesting things to look at today. So we'll kick straight off. The first question that we ask is, as a brand, is artificial intelligence a friend or a foe? Now, there are a number of different ways to look at this. This is an example of artificial intelligence as many people see it these days. So this is not exactly the T-1000 Terminator. This is nothing to worry about, is it? And when you see the likes of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg debating whether or not AI is going to be the death of us all, we have to ask ourselves, when we see this type of video, is this something that we should feel threatened by? But as a brand, this is something that is very different. This is an example of something that is a much bigger threat. This connected fridge is a much bigger threat to brands than any Terminator machine. And why is that? So we're going to explore that in a bit more detail today. First of all, I want to show you another video. This is by Professor Scott Galloway of L2 Digital in the USA. And it's an example of how voice commerce is being used to buy products. And this has a really significant impact for brands and how they advertise their products to consumers. So let's just take a quick look at the video.
AA batteries, 48 pack. It's $13.60 total, including tax. Would you like to buy it?
No.
I also found 20 pack of Amazon Basics triple of performance alkaline batteries. It's $7.61 total, including tax. Would you like to buy it?
No.
That's all I can find for batteries right now.
So Alexa, knowing that you don't have the visual cues of other brands, has decided to tell you that Amazon private label batteries are the only batteries available, despite the fact there are numerous brands available on Amazon.
So let's just look and reiterate what's happened there. If you look, the user has asked Alexa to buy batteries, has been recommended two specific options by Alexa, both of which were the Amazon Basic batteries. They haven't seen the options of the Energizer or the Duracell or any other brand of batteries that might be an option, even though those products are listed on Amazon and the user has rejected the Amazon Basics option. So what does that mean? As a brand, how can you possibly advertise to users who are not even being given your products as an option? And in this new world where you have no user interface, no visual user interface, how can a brand advertise in this situation? So let's look at what kind of size this problem is becoming for brands. This is the number of voice-first devices that are being shipped. And you can see this year, these personal assistants, Siri, Alexa, etc., the prominence of these devices is becoming exponential. That growth is absolutely enormous. We can expect a similar trajectory of growth to be maintained next year. Then if we look at the growth of the connected devices, so the fridges, the heating systems, any other devices that are being users, again, look at the growth that we get from over here from 2017 over the next 7 or 8 years, what that actually becomes. And it's a massive install base of connected devices being influenced and being accessible by controlled voice commands. So what does the impact have, or what is the impact of that? As artificial intelligence begins to anticipate the needs that we have as consumers and buys products on our behalf automatically, how can brands advertise to those algorithms? How do you advertise to a robot? So let's look at that in a little bit more detail. That this is as artificial intelligence, like Alexa, is beginning to build out profiles for you. So Amazon has a profile for you as a user. It understands that either you like buying the low cost, possibly lower quality items, Maybe you like the non-branded bleach rather than the branded bleach products because you just don't care the brand of bleach that you use to clean your home. Or maybe you care about buying ultra premium. You always buy the high-end products. So Amazon is building out a profile for you, and then Alexa is interpreting your profile preferences to make recommendations of products to you. So as a brand, how do you navigate that environment? How do you advertise to those algorithms so that you're targeting people who may not know that you have a product that they want? This, I'd first of all like to go into some depth and show how this is becoming real, and not just using the example of Alexa that Professor Galloway discussed there. This is a product, or a project, should I say, that ChannelSight has worked on with a number of our partners coming together. We have a zero user interface marketing system here, where there's a connected fridge, Siemens connected fridge, with a camera in it. You can see this is the camera. It's a specialized camera that's able to determine the products that are in the fridge and the quantities remaining. We've connected that device to a smartwatch and a voice assistant, so that you can say to your smart device, what's in the fridge. You can receive an itemized list of the key products in your fridge, or you can get a list of the top 3 recipes that are potentially creatable using the key ingredients that you have in your fridge. What we've been able to do then is say that there are a number of items missing from these ingredients. So you've selected the preferred recipe that you have. You're then advised that you need some key ingredients that you don't have. And maybe you also give feedback to the voice assistant saying, we want to eat for 6 people rather than 2. So adjust the quantities accordingly, and then order all of the products I need and have them shipped to me in the next hour. So this is a use case of where there's zero user interface in terms of a visual user interface from the user perspective, but this is actually shopping and making decisions, creating these shoppable moments and these shoppable events from this device that and your fridge is making the recommendations via a recipe database for this. So this is working. This is not just a proof of concept. We have got this fully live and working. So there are countless other use cases and examples, and this is going to become ever more prevalent. So again, as a food brand, how would you advertise when the profile knows that you like a particular recipe or a particular type of cuisine? How do you advertise to ensure that your product is advertised over a competitor product in an environment where your fridge is buying those products for you automatically? And what this represents is the first fundamental shift in the evolution of shopping from the days of hunter-gatherer behavior. So when you knocked something over the head and dragged it back to your cave to eat, that is fundamentally the exact same thing that you're doing when you walk into the supermarket, take things off the shelf, and then exchange small bits of paper or money to bring them home to your home and prepare a meal. And even where you go online and you have online shopping, again, that's just an automated or online way of doing the same thing. Looking at subscription-based shopping, where you're getting a subscription of a particular product, milk or bleach or toilet roll, every set period of time, that is again just sophisticated hunter-gatherer behavior. You're expecting that this is going to be delivered. If you're going away on holidays, it's dumb, so you need to advise it that you're going away on holidays or that you've oversubscribed for this product and you don't need any more. So this is all just sophisticated hunter-gatherer behavior. What you have now with these smart devices and artificial intelligence is you have the first fundamental shift in how that's occurring, where devices and machines and artificial intelligence are deciding what they think we want to buy, and then refining future behavior based on the feedback that it gets. So if we advise it that we don't like the particular brand of product and that was shipped, it takes that into consideration, it adds that to your profile, and it adjusts how it buys future products for you. So you're handing over control to these algorithms in the first real shift away from making all of these decisions yourself. So how can a brand influence an algorithm in that situation? The first thing is to know your consumer. So Nespresso does a brilliant job of this. It has a CRM. Nespresso has a CRM. They understand exactly what you're buying. They make recommendations of products to you based on your previous purchasing history, whether you repeated a particular purchase. There's a number of different criteria that are used. How can your brand emulate that level of sophistication in terms of knowing your consumer? Because once you know the consumer and their preferences, you can begin to target the marketing activity towards the individual users and the algorithms that are making choices on behalf of those particular types of users. So the more you can know about your users and your particular consumers, the more you know about how to connect with and understand how to influence those algorithms. Engaging users where they are is a vital part of any strategy that a brand employs now. So previously, brands would invest an awful lot of time and effort to try and drive users through to a direct-to-consumer purchase, selling a product directly to that consumer. The main rationale of that being either maintaining margin or understanding and building a relationship with those users so that future marketing activity can be customized and other products can be promoted to those users. But fundamentally, users are now in control of the buying process. They are on the social media platform, be that Snapchat or Facebook or Twitter or whatever the platform it is that they want to be on. They are on whatever device they want to be on. And they don't expect to be forced to go to a particular buying or conversion opportunity. They don't expect to be forced through to a direct purchasing from the brand. So in understanding where the users are, targeting the users where they are, but not forcing them to try and conduct the behavior that you want them to as a brand. Being there as a brand, being present, and making sure it's easy for them to connect and buy the product from wherever they are. And that leads us on to creating unique brand experiences. So once you know who your users are, you have a profile of who you're targeting, and you know where they are, so you can target them effectively wherever they want to be. How can you create unique brand experiences at scale? So how can you create an individual experience so that the user feels a connection and understands how to engage with your brand in the same way that users are so passionately connecting with influencer-driven brands now, where an Instagram user, a 16-year-old, can create a following of millions of people from their bedroom and create a brand worth millions by selling products to them. The user feels that they have a connection to the CEO of this business. They feel that the passion that that individual has for their product, and they buy into that. That is compelling for users, and they feel a direct connection with that person. So how can you emulate that as a brand? How can you create that type of very individual, customized experience at scale? Once you have that situation where you understand your users, you're creating what feels like customized individual experiences for those users where they want to be, where they are. How can you drive an action from those individual places so that wherever the user develops a buying intent or an intent to follow any call to action that may be relevant for them, maybe that's learn more, download a coupon, whatever the call to action that makes sense to that user is, ensure that it's presented to them at the appropriate time. And again, capturing data wherever you can in this process by making this actionable, making the user experience as clean and as sophisticated really from the perspective of the brand in terms of data capture. Then using that data to understand user behavior and refine what you're doing in a constant loop of improving how things are presented to those users. So what are the campaigns that are resonating with those users? How could you further refine what you're doing in terms of content strategy, in terms of the different platforms that are being used to communicate with those users? Is there particular campaigns that are working most effectively with a particular segment of users on a particular platform? And again, testing and learning, using A/B testing as often as possible to understand what the users find most compelling. And I think this is probably the most important thing. It's building relationships, building genuine relationships where there is trust. And again, going back to what I said a few minutes ago about the influencer-driven brands, there is a relationship, there is a connectivity and a feeling that the user has a connection with the representative of that brand. That is very different to how traditional brands have connected with users in the past, where it maybe was on the basis of trusting that the brand is, or the product is going to deliver what it says, and that's why the user keeps going back. How can you build a lasting, trusting relationship between yourself and your customers, where because that is only really where you identify that the relationship type and are able to nurture that relationship, that the algorithms that are making decisions on behalf of those users will recognize that that user's preference is to have a relationship with your brand versus any other brand, or a cheaper version of your brand, or a Me Too version of your brand. So building that relationship is one of the most important things that you can do, and nurturing that over time is what is going to position you for success with influencing those algorithms. And finally, innovation. Innovation is something that's talked about an awful lot with brands. A/B testing is something that is obviously very important, but embracing the fact that not everything is going to work, and in fact most things are going to fail. And Mondelez is an example of one of our clients, but also a brand that really does embrace innovation. They try so many different things. Some of these things work, many of them don't, but the things that work are given investment. They double down and drive the maximum value from the things that are proven to work. So a culture of embracing a startup methodology to innovation projects is so important, and ensure that your team is given the space and really the budget, as well as the authority to do and try these things, knowing that many of them won't work. And because it's only once that innovation is really embraced that you're going to have the kind of light bulb moments, or the kind of lucky breaks that really help accelerate that brand in this space. So that's just a summary of the kind of 7 points that we've looked at. And really, none of these can be ignored. All of these are vital. I think fundamentally, all of these connect back to this overall point of building a relationship, and you can only do that when you know who you're trying to target, who you're working with, where they are, how they like to engage with your brand, giving them the ability to engage with that brand, understanding how that has worked, and then refining it. And using innovation to try new things and new innovative ways to engage with that type of user in the future. So once we understand as a brand how you can advertise to these algorithms and to these robots, what comes next? Well, once you're doing that successfully and you have a process that works for you, you can begin to automate that and use programmatic methodologies to automate as much of that process as possible. But then what you have is you start looking at algorithms, advertising to algorithms. So you're programmatically building out ad campaigns that are advertising to algorithms. So actually everybody becomes kind of spectators to what's going on. And a question I got in a previous presentation that I gave was around, well, what does that mean for my job as a brand marketeer? And it just means that there is constant change. There is always going to be a role for the brand marketeers to help influence these algorithms, certainly in the foreseeable future, in the next 5 years. How are these brands connecting with these algorithms? How are those algorithms performing? How could they be refined? And where's the next big thing? It's about managing these algorithms and making sure that they're as effective as possible. So big changes are coming. There's a lot of brands are going to go extinct because they don't embrace these changes. And just like looking back at the example that we looked at with Alexa buying batteries, it's vital that brands change how they plan to engage with their users to avoid becoming obsolete by accident, just because they're not positioned in front of their users. Think about always bringing this back down to building relationships at scale. How can you create a unique individual relationship, but do that with millions of people across millions of devices and markets and countries? How can you do that at scale? So thank you very much. I hope you found that useful. We're always happy to look at questions and help you to answer any queries you have around this and how we can assist. So please do feel free to reach out and get in touch if we can be of any assistance. Thanks very much.